Hi everybody, I hope you all are doing well. I was struggling with what I wanted to do for today's video, and then I saw that I was tagged by the wonderful Adriana from Perpetual Pages to do the TBR tag. If you are not yet familiar with Adriana, then you can click up here to go and fix your life. But basically this tag is a series of questions about the books that you have not read as yet. Question number 1 is, how do you keep track of your TBR? And I simply just try to aim for books that I know that I really want to read, books that I've heard reviews on, or books that I personally think would be a good read for me. I tend to try to stay away from the hype and what publishers are trying to push in my face and focus on, again, what I personally think I want to read. I would say print, definitely, because I only really have about 2 or 3 books on my Kindle. I'm trying to get into the ebook thing, but I just find it ridiculous to pay money for something not physical. So I am just really buying just the cheap ones. There are others that are like above $5 US, which I'm sorry, I'm not paying over $5 for a freaking ebook. How do you determine which book to read next? And I will probably have to agree with Adriana on this one, and that is I just go based on my mood. I don't even really plan out like what I'm reading each month. Like I would probably say like, okay, in July I'm reading these 5 books, and then I end up reading something completely different. Question number 4 is a book that's been on your TBR the longest. So for this one I would have to say Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is one of the first books that I've added to my collection, and I really wanted to read it back when I got it, and then I got about halfway through and I was completely fed up. At that time I wasn't really used to reading classics, so the whole writing experience was new for me, and I found that it was too descriptive and it took forever to get to the point, and I was done, so I didn't finish it. So I'll show you 2 books that I recently added to my TBR. The first one is the book that I most recently bought in a store, and that is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. This is about a girl who has like a whole bunch of unrequited loves or something like that, and I've heard of absolutely amazing things. It's Becky Albertalli. She wrote Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which I have not read as yet, but I plan on reading for Booktubeathon. If you want to see my TBR, you can click up here. But I am still very much looking forward to this because I know I'm going to love Simon, and I know I'm going to love this because it's just one of those books, if you know what I mean. The next book that I added to my TBR was Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. I pre-ordered the paperback of the UK edition, which I like a lot more, and I cannot wait for it to come. So this is basically a family saga about these Korean people who moved to Japan in the 1900s, and it follows them throughout generations and what it's like living as Koreans in Japan. So I don't buy books strictly because of the cover, because I think that's very impractical, but there was one particular book that I've been seeing the US edition of, and I've been really interested in reading it, and then I went to the store and I saw that we have the UK edition. Now if you didn't know, in Trinidad we get both the US and UK editions of books. For some we only get the US, for some we only get the UK, for some we get both, but for this one we only have the UK book, which I'm not complaining about because look at this cover. This is Here Comes the Sun by Nicole Dennis Benn, and it's a West Indian fiction story. It's set in Jamaica, and it follows these women who are being uprooted from their community because this big hotel company wants to build a resort where their village is. I've of course heard only excellent things about this book. I follow the author on Instagram. She is lit, and I can't wait to read it. Also, Here Comes the Sun is Own Voices queer lit, so if you want to get your life with that book. So an unpublished book that I'm excited for that's coming out next month. I'm not sure if I'll be reading it next month, but it's called Little&Lion by Brandy Colbert. So this one is about a girl who's attending boarding school in New England, and she comes back home to LA, and she decides that she wants to stay home in LA because she wants to help take care of her stepbrother who has been recently diagnosed with bipolar disorder. But then some sort of drama ensues when she kind of falls in love with the same girl that her brother is in love with, and things go awry from there. I've heard incredible things from people who have already read it, so I'm looking forward to it. So for a book on my TBR that basically everyone has read but me would have to be Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I don't know why I've been holding off on this book for so long, but I know that when I get to it, I'm going to love it, and I can't wait to be able to read it and say with everybody else who has read this book that I've read this book. A book on my TBR that everybody recommends to me is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I have already read Purple Hibiscus and The Thing Around Your Neck and thoroughly enjoyed both of those, but I'm still yet to read this one. It's basically the story of this Nigerian woman who is living in America and her high school lover who is living in the UK, and they both move back to Nigeria and rekindle their relationship or whatever. I love Chimamanda Adichie. I love the work that I already read from her, so I absolutely know that I'm going to love this one as well. A book on my TBR that I'm dying to read is one that I have not yet acquired, and that is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I have been hearing nothing but incredible things about this book. It is set in the 1700s, and it follows a boy who is going on this European tour with his best friend and his little sister. And I heard that there's great discussion in this book where race and sexuality and gender is concerned, and I am here for that. And the last question is, how many books are on your TBR shelf? So right now I own, give or take, approximately 100 books, and half of those are unread. That doesn't sound great, but I'm not overwhelmed or intimidated, so I guess that's a good thing. And that's it for the TBR tag. If you've read any of these books, in the comments down below, I would love to know your thoughts on them. That being said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.